Welcome back to A View in the Press Box. Dima Mixon with the Pine Belt News, joined as always by Glyn Dyar with 247 Sports. Glyn, how are you doing today?
I am well. How are you guys doing?
Really good. We're also joined by special co-host with us today, Scott Kirk, WDAM. Scott, always a pleasure to have you on and get your insight on Southern Miss Athletics. You do such a great job covering things over there at WDAM, and we do appreciate you hopping on with us today.
Well, thank you, thank you. Happy to squeeze you guys in. No worries. Sneak peek of the WDN green room. Not much behind me here, but yeah, super excited to come on today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, guys, we got to, it's been a lot of fun. The first few weeks, I've kind of compared it to, it feels like the season's been going on for like 2 months with how many like blockbuster games they've had, and another one, another big series this weekend at Louisiana Tech. Scott, me and Glenn have talked about this team a lot. Over and over and over again, we've talked a lot about the team and their veteran presence with the lineup, the pitching staff continuing to get better and stuff. I guess what's your overall thoughts of the team so far? If you had to put a overall grade on this start, 7-1, just tell us your thoughts on the team, and then after that, we'll get into a Alabama game recap.
Well, if I had to grade it, they're getting an A+. I'm not going to deduct them anything for facing Jackson, Florida, and losing. That guy's a first-round pick. Mind you, it's opening day. It's a little chilly. Your bats are a little dull. That's just not fair, right? But this has been a fantastic start. Uh, to go to Round Rock and win the way they did, beat 11th ranked Oregon State the way they did, have a run rule win against Alabama. That Bama win did not give them momentum. They had momentum going into that game. This just adds on to it a little bit. Absolutely fantastic start. And I think maybe the USM fan has every right to feel a little bit cautious per se because we are so early into the season. We're 8 games in this thing. They're 7-1. There's still so much room left, right? So it's a long year. You don't win this season in February. You can't lose it, but you don't win it here. So it's just about continuing on with things. There's going to be a storm. It's a matter of when, not if. So how does this team handle adversity? I want to see them get through some adversity. But overall, this is how you build your resume for May because the Sun Belt is the Sun Belt sometimes. It could be hit or miss, but this has been so perfect. You couldn't write a better story.
I totally agree, and I know Glenn, you and I were talking before the season. We thought this first 10 games or so was probably the toughest we've seen in the Southern Miss baseball schedule in a long time, and that goes on, right? Louisiana Tech, not any piece of cake. That's a really good baseball club over there. We're going to talk about them in a little bit, but you also got State coming up, Ole Miss coming up, but so far, we kind of said, getting out of that 500, with a lot of these new pieces trying to figure out things you'd feel pretty decent. They're looking at maybe getting out of it, Glenn, 800, 900.
Yeah, they've defied expectations to some extent. And back to what Scott said, and echoing Coach Oz, I think he tried to set the record straight a little bit the other day. Like, hold on, there are going to be storms within the season. The important part is to see how we handle those storms, and if it's a situation where those storms actually makes us a better program, in totality. And that's over the course of the season. You're going to have some injuries. You're going to have some slumps. That's how you weather it, man, when you write that whole story out.
Yeah, I know, and I totally agree. And I think Scott is right when he said that I think a lot of Southern Miss fans are just kind of bracing themselves because it feels like anytime anything good happens around here, it's,
a little bit jaded.
Seriously, USM is so good. They're leading off the show on Sports Talk Mississippi. When does that ever happen, right? When is USM ever trumping State or Ole Miss? It's happening now, and the next 2 weeks are going to be super exciting for sure. I hope they're top 10 matchups, right? Imagine like Mississippi State plays in Arlington this weekend. They play UCLA, who's number one. Like, what if Mississippi State beats UCLA? Like. What if Mississippi State is number one heading to P. Taylor Park and USM beats them? There's so many possibilities. I understand. Let's get through Ruston first, but it's really exciting.
It's hard not to look ahead at the Mississippi State game for sure, but I know for sure Oz isn't doing that, and he's looking,
No, definitely not.
looking towards the Louisiana Tech series. Guys, I want to talk a little bit about Alabama, though, because obviously we didn't have a show. We don't have shows right after the midweeks. We try to, reserve our thoughts for the midweeks before our season previews. Golden Eagles come out. Just a quick recap of the game, and then, Glenn, I'll get your thoughts. 2-0 Alabama took the lead there in the first inning. Really shouldn't have even been 2-0. Kind of an infield error there. Should have been a double play where Seth Smith threw the ball to Kyle Morrison on almost a sure double play every time. Kyle Morrison just kind of fumbled it and allowed them to have 2 on with no outs, and then got a couple of base hits there to take the lead 2-0, and then Southern Miss kind of 2 balls in no man's land to take get one back there in the bottom of the first 2-1, and then the grand slam by Ben Higdon to go up 5-2. Alabama comes back with that 2-run homer in the 4th inning before a 7-run inning in the 4th, which is the most runs that Southern Miss has gotten all season in a single inning. Of course, another grand slam there by Kyle Morrison. And then it was pitching from then on for the Golden Eagles that really shined. No hits for Alabama from the 4th inning on, all the way to the end of the game. And a 14-4 win over the Tide. Glenn, I thought, if we were predicting that game to start, going into it, I thought Southern Miss would probably win. If you would have told me they were going to run rule Alabama, I would have probably looked at you like, all right, you probably need some kind of thing to get yourself calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I had questions coming in. I knew for sure that Southern Miss was battle tested. They've seen premium arms, premium velo, premium stuff. I didn't think Alabama had seen a lot of stuff yet. So that was a question in my mind, and some of that played out. I mean, to Southern's credit, they took their walks, had a good approach at the plate, and then when, Bama made mistakes, our batters punished those mistakes, in big ways, obviously with the 2 grand slams. Probably the story of the night, though, is Oz running out redshirt freshman after freshman, and they're just clean innings, one after the other. Particularly I saw this kid at fall ball, Littleton, big 6'5", 230 lefty.
Yeah.
You got a 6'5", 230 lefty with a power arm touching 95. I mean, a lefty doing that, that's a huge pickup. And his best pitch that night was a slider. He was landing it at any time he wanted to. So 2-pitch mix, before it's over with, he's going to, add that 3rd pitch, and he's probably going to be a premier starter for Southern Miss at some point in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in the fall when I said he could probably be the Friday night guy in a couple of seasons, which is actually funny because he actually got the win on Tuesday night with the 2nd inning showing. But, Scott, I'm going to run through this for you, and let me get your thoughts on this. I know you were at the game. Dylan Cosby, freshman, 1 inning pitched, gives up the 2 hits, but the 2 unearned runs, they weren't really his fault. That was fielding error in the 1st inning. Bruce Littleton, 1 inning pitched, 3 strikeouts. KL Farr, freshman, 1 inning pitch, 2 strikeouts.
That guy was good.
Yeah. Teague Broadhead, 1 inning pitched, 1 strikeout. Ott comes in and cleans it in. I mean, it was just one guy after another, and they all just threw an inning. But, I mean, they just kept running guys in there. And really, I think it was a mixture of Bama couldn't believe how many arms they were seeing. So there was no way for them to get any chemistry at the plate, because they were only going out for 1 inning. It was actually a brilliant, coaching decision by Oz and Leger. But 2, I mean, this pitching staff could be 15, 20 players deep.
It's incredible. And we still didn't see a guy like Cole Richardson, who is big, 6'5", lanky, and has, tons of promise. Didn't even see Sam Mitchell, who we saw in Round Rock, right? There's still so many names that did not make appearances, right? And there's still Chase Adams. There's still Drake Meeks when he comes back. There's still Jackson Parker. There's still options despite all those names we saw. I'll say this, though. It was kind of hard for me to tell those guys apart because they're all freshmen. And, they all have the buzz cuts. They all look the same. They all look like clones, to be honest with you. But they were really good. Specifically, I was really impressed by KL Farr.
Yeah.
He had this confidence about him. He had this little smile when he got guys out. They're feeling it, and it's so fun to see, so good to see. And again, I'm not trying to be negative at all, but these freshmen are going to learn some lessons, right? Like two types of baseball players: those who are humbled and those who are yet to be humbled, right? So when do they hit adversity, and how do they handle adversity? That's going to be my question for these guys over the next couple appearances, when they get some more film on them, when they face some more seasoned hitters, when the weather heats up a little bit. That's going to be the exciting part for me to see how they handle adversity, how they handle getting in a jam, how they pick each other up. That's going to be the fun part, and that's going to really show us what the staff's made of, I think.
I'll make an
Glenn's
addition to that. As we're sitting here talking about that, and I'm writing stats down, the thing that just stuck in my head, the biggest difference thus far with that pen between right now and last year has got to be Ock and Armistead. Those guys, Ock was good early till he had some arm issues, but he faded, and Armistead dealt with injuries all last year. Both of those guys have been pretty lights out, and Ock's stuff is as good as I've ever seen it. I was watching on track, man. His induced vertical was 19 inches in this on the same pitch with a fastball. He's also getting almost 19 inches of run horizontally. Those guys couldn't touch it. When they did, they were just foul balls. They couldn't see it. It's only 88 miles an hour, but you can't barrel it. So
right.
Love JW's arm slot. His arm slot's lethal.
Yeah, and then he's mixing in a slider he's landing. He couldn't do that last year either. So those two guys are huge bonuses in the middle of that bullpen or toward the end of the bullpen from last year.
Yeah, I was probably the most impressed with Littleton, just because, and we saw him in the fall, right? It wasn't like we had no idea who he was. We thought that he still had some ironing out to do as far as potentially getting into a game. But I mean, getting into the game, and I looked at you, Glyn, when Littleton came in, and I said, "Oh, that's a welcome to your first collegiate appearance. Here you go facing Justin LeBron, right? Who's this Golden Glove winner for Bama,
probably
pick for Bama, and he strikes him out. I mean, it was just, and I love the analogy that Scott just used of like they're all clones. I mean, we could start calling these the bullpen the clone army.
They look like the same person.
So, yeah. So I mean, Glyn, it's honestly incredible. But then again, it's like. He doesn't have to depend on those guys either. That's, I think, what's even more impressive. You still got the Sivleys, you still got the Sunstroms, you still got the Ox, the Clarks. I mean, that's what's just unbelievable about the staff.
Your best matchup lefty and Chase Adams, who they missed sorely last season, is probably 2 or 3 weeks away finishing his rehab and being ready to go. Having that matchup lefty is going to be huge for them when he can come back with his slider. Kind of the funny thing, we're mentioning these youngsters, Littleton, Broadhead, and Farr. All those guys are just 2-pitch guys right now. Once Oz and Leger get a hold of them and add that third pitch to each of these guys, they're going to be that much more dangerous. They're getting these guys out now with just 2 pitches, but they're 2 really good pitches.
Sorry,
so there's so much ceiling for those guys going forward.
Minnie wanted to say hello to the show, but yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, but I guess the overall thing for Tuesday's game was I expected them to win, but I didn't think that they had it in them to run rule Bama. But that was almost like the complete game that you think this team is capable of, is being able to hit, punish, like you said, Glenn, punish those mistakes that Bama was throwing and taking the walks, because I think the plate discipline has been kind of the weak part of the team thus far. And so getting to see them work those counts and, mashing the balls that they should be mashing was very encouraging to see. And it was very encouraging to see Higdon being a surprising, I guess, productive player at the leadoff spot. And Glenn, you asked, we talked to Ostrander today before they headed out to Louisiana Tech, and you asked him about that leadoff spot, and he really named all 4 guys who they probably could throw in there between Higdon, Urban, Stelly, and Seth Smith. And I think all 4 of them could work. I still like the Seth Smith angle just because of what he's doing from the plate, especially considering he doesn't try to do too much of the ball, and he just kind of slaps singles. Like, he's not really going to threaten you with power, even though he does have it.
Yeah. He'll hit 2 or 3 for the year's over.
Like, yeah, he has that power, but like, I just think that would be an interesting leadoff guy, especially from that perspective. But it's different from the years past because they don't have the Matthew Etzels, the Jake Cooks, the Dalton McIntyre, so you can just slap a ball and get on first.
Yeah, it was like I said, we've been so blessed these last couple of years. We've been spoiled with those guys when they came in, what they could do from that leadoff spot. So, yeah, I mean, in Oz, that was part of the question. So, you're willing to experiment. So, kind of figuring there, he's going to – I look for some more lineup changes before he settles into what he really wants when they get to, conference season. And I really liked your point about Seth Smith there, kind of although he hadn't played a lot, he's still a veteran presence, great plate awareness, great zone awareness, contact guy. I mean, he can work walks, he can work deep into the count. I think, and he runs a little better than average. I think
Yeah.
he would be a really sweet spot right there for that one hole eventually when they decide maybe they want to give him a look there.
And if I could add this in about Seth Smith as well, this is just my own personal theory. I do wonder, uh, maybe him not getting a nod on opening day, if that sort of lit some sort of competitive fire under him. And not that Ty Long is not effective. I think he could be a great player, but just natural human element, right? Like you don't get what you want, you simmer on it a little bit. Once he got that opportunity, he is relishing everything. And I wonder if him not getting that opening day nod has almost made him a better player overall because he's been really effective.
Yeah, if you're a competitor, that's going to be the positive you take out of that. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm going to get better. I'm going to keep competing. I'm going to take my game to another level. And it looks like maybe that's what Seth did. So kudos to him.
And he's given Oz and Coach Creel no reason to take him out of the lineup now, right? With batting
No,
us
not at all.
whatever it is,
747,
750 and 1650 OPS.
And you know what? Like when you're hot, things go in your favor. I mean, he got a base hit last week, and the guy dropped the ball in left field, right? And he
Yeah,
got on
he just
base. Like
totally misread it. Yeah.
when you're going hot, things go in your favor.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's how this game works, man. I mean,
I'll say when we talked to Coach Ostrander today, and I want to get both your guys' thoughts on this, and then we'll get into the Louisiana Tech preview because I know that's what a lot of people want to hear. Want to hear about this team, and this is a really good Bulldog ball club. But I just think, guys, there's this almost like calm confidence displayed by all of these guys, and I think it could go. You could take that and run with it with the freshman pitchers as well, but almost this like, and I think part of that they can look back to the 7-1 start and in the different ways they've had to win, such as you had to come back and beat UC Santa Barbara in both those games, Saturday and Sunday. And then you had to grind one out against Southeastern Louisiana in that midweek, and then find that way to win Purdue game, find the way to win Baylor game. You felt like you controlled the Oregon State and Bama game, but they just had to win in so many different ways. And this early in the season, that's just so important to build that confidence. Where, like Oz told us today, we went down 2-0 against Bama, but I mean, none of these guys blinked. I mean, and I just think that's so important. Obviously, this weekend, first true road test, Glenn, but bringing that confidence on the road, it just has to bode well for them because I don't think Louisiana Tech has that confidence. No offense to them, I just don't think they have a confidence level of that.
Well, I don't think they've been through the wars that Southern's been through yet. And Southern seen, like I said, premium arms, velo, and stuff. I think they're, La Tech may be trending a little bit because of the big numbers they've been putting up, but I don't think they're battle tested as Southern Miss, and that to me that's everything. They know how to win and know how to win in multiple ways. It's like when we were interviewing Morrison the other night, and toward the end of the interview, we're asking him about that. Do you guys kind of give each other that look, or what do you say to each other? And he said, yeah, we just kind of have a knowing about us. And then he said, we're not really even going yet. Wait till we get going. This lineup's going to be murder on people. So, when Stockman gets going, and he will, when Higdon gets going, I mean, it could be a fun lineup to watch 1 through 9.
Well, we've already seen, Scott, the other two guys who didn't start off will start get going, and we saw what happened. I mean, like Glenn said, like Stockman, hasn't had a great start to the season, but also like Gillespie wasn't having a good start, like Higdon wasn't having a good start, and both those guys started producing last week, and now the lineup is really long just with those two guys. But like Glenn said, once Barrett gets going, once Stockman gets going, and then you have 6-7 guys who are all yard threats as soon as they step to the plate. It instills confidence in you.
oh, totally. I mean, I think Davis struck out like 8 times on opening weekend.
Yeah.
Um,
Just wait and see.
I think for him to start collecting hits, especially at Round Rock, I think it's safe to say his slump may be finally over. I think it was a good mental hurdle for him to strike out 8 times and then come back and start firing off base hits. I think he's finally maturing in that sense now. And the important part is, even though guys like Barrett and Stockman are slumping in the hits department, they're getting on base. And that's why you're seeing the production because teammates are picking them up. I mean, that's how this lineup is designed. And that's why it's so interesting having Higdon in that one spot as well. If it's a guy like Seth Smith in the one hole, there's probably no grand slam, right?
Yeah,
Because that
exactly.
bottom of the order, they're not picking up the hits, but they're getting on base in any way possible, getting good
Yeah.
at bats together.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And it is funny. I will shout out Glenn because he did call that grand slam in the press box, and I
First
told him,
pitch too.
I told him I'd pay him $50 if Higdon. No offense to Ben Higdon, but he's just been slumping, And he said, and Glenn, we have this like thing we just point if we just feel one coming, and Glenn just did that, and I said I'll give you $50 if he hits a grand slam. And he just smoked it, Glenn.
Yeah, it was a little fortuitous there. I got
Free
lucky.
gyro.
Yeah, that guy hung that breaking ball, and Ben just jumped all over it.
I guess I need to give you like a $50 Glory Bound gift card. Not
Or you
just,
can take me to Half Shells.
Yeah, little trouble. Both those restaurants do not sponsor this show, by the way, but they will by the end of baseball season. I'm confident.
Yes,
I'm just kidding.
we're all about food.
That's right. All right, guys, let's get into this Louisiana Tech preview. Preview this baseball team. This is just some overall things, and then we'll get into kind of some meat. Overall record for the Bulldogs: 8-1. D1 baseball predicted them second in Conference USA. They predicted Dallas Baptist first, Glenn, over them.
Yes.
Okay. 8-1 start. That's 2 wins over the Buckeyes, Ohio State, 6-0, 9-3, and then they beat Memphis, which is another pretty decent baseball team, and then Northwestern State. Their only loss so far on the season is to McNeese, and McNeese is the one who beat LSU the other night, by the way.
Solid ball club.
Yeah, and so Southern Miss, number 16th ranked strength of schedule right now. Louisiana Tech, number 32. So just some offensive numbers and then pitching numbers, and then we'll get into the meat of their team. But overall average so far, 332, just a little over 1,000 OPS, about 7.5 runs per game, 15 home runs, a lot of strikeouts of 79, and then the ERA numbers for pitching: 2.52 ERA, 1.7 WHIP. Opponent averaging 230. They've only allowed 1 home run over the whole season. So, Glenn, this is going to be a test. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that, especially considering you got to go over there, and the Love Shack's just never an easy place to play. But for those who don't know, apparently Coach Burroughs hates Southern Miss.
Yeah, no, they can't stand Southern Miss, is what we heard, right?
Yeah, that's why he wears 44 on his jersey in honor of Corky Palmer. So
it wasn't he in Scott Berry's daughter's wedding or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, Glenn, this isn't going to be an easy test. I mean, an easy ride for Southern Miss up in Ruston.
No, I mean, Coach Burroughs guys always have swung it. That's their MO. They'll pound you, and outrun you. That ballpark has a super short porch in right field. That's what surprised me about only 1 home run they've given up. I mean, that's a short porch on right. If you can drive one, get one up in the air over there, you can easily go out of the ballpark. I guess the biggest thing with this team for Coach is it's not really even his starting pitching. It's his middle relief and his closer. The depth of that is better than it's maybe been in 5 or 6 years. He's always been able to hit the ball, but just couldn't last through the 7th and the 8th and the 9th inning or in a tournament situation because of the lack of depth. He seems to have that right now.
He really does. Dimensions out there in at left field. Sorry, 315 down right field, which is just ridiculous.
Wow.
325 to right down the right field line and 380.
We might could get one out of that park.
Yeah.
Hey, it could be a good day for Russo. Could be a good day for Higgy. I mean,
yeah, lefty pool guys got to be
got
dreamy.
some solid lefties in the order.
Yeah, I mean that's fly balls that Higdon is catching in middle of right field, being homers out there at the Louisiana Tech. So that's going to be interesting. And Scott, I mean, I think it's great that these programs are going to play each other for the next several years. If for the love of all beauty in the world, the Sun Belt figures out their baseball scheduling. So how great is it that we get to see this probably for the next several years? See these two teams, because I mean it is a rivalry. It's been a rivalry, and it's been some great games. I mean the last 2 series, so they played 3 years in a row, or actually 4 years in a row, 5 years in a row, 6 years in a row. I'm keep going back 6 years in a row in these series, and I mean they're all great baseball games.
Yeah, and especially since Coach Burroughs hates Southern Miss.
For
But
those who
I
don't
was
know, which if you do not know, you need to get on Twitter. But a freshman by the name of for Louisiana Tech by the name of Casey McCoy said Coach Burroughs hates Southern Miss and we're going to sweep them or something like that. So
My question is, why are freshmen even giving quotes in the first place? Just
I mean, that's fine, but I'll tell you, man, like that kid definitely got a spanking and talking to for sure. For
yeah,
sure, because he probably meant to say something like, "Oh, like Coach Burroughs can't stand losing to Southern Miss." That's
right.
fine. That's
yeah.
a different thing. But I think I think he like I think he got a little bit too caught up in this.
I think to rope your head coach in the hate is insane.
Back again, don't put a
Well,
mic in front of a freshman.
and I don't think he said hate. Did he?
Yeah,
Oh, he did. Okay. Yeah, I think what he meant to say was like hates losing to Southern Miss, and like to the reporter, he's just doing his job, putting it out there. I mean, you know, the guy's got to do his job. Yeah, I don't think he loved posting that, but I safe to say that kid's probably not talking in the media. But otherwise, off track. I was thinking about this today, how fun it's going to be having La Tech in the Sun Belt for baseball. Baseball wise, that is an RPI elevator for the conference. It makes the West even beefier, as if the East wasn't easy enough, right? Like because the East is kind of a cakewalk. Let's just say what it is. But like to have Troy, Louisiana Tech, Louisiana, Southern Miss, all in the West. Sometimes Texas State could have some power bats in there. Those are five loaded teams in the Sun Belt. It's gonna be juicy. I do wonder what USM replaces that non-con with in baseball, but there's so much good talent. This is gonna be a good test for Southern Miss. I don't think it's gonna be a guaranteed sweep. I don't think it's a guaranteed series win. La Tech is scrappy. They're a very scrappy team, and I can tell you they don't like losing to USM. I don't think they hate USM, but they definitely don't like losing to Golden Eagles.
It
If
has been a spicy contested series over the years, though.
Oh, totally. It's gonna be great. I think it's really fun. I think the thing that I want to see. Start number three for Colby Allen. I want to see him go a little bit deeper. We
Yeah,
saw this last year with JB. It took him about 3 to 6 starts for him to consistently start going 7 to 8 innings and really managing his pitches. Because last year the problem with JB was walking guys. Colby doesn't have walk trouble, but he has some first inning troubles. So I want to see how Colby can manage to go a little bit deeper and kind of change that mindset a little bit.
yeah. It's interesting. You mentioned golly, what am I?
JB.
Jamie Middleton. Sorry. When you look at his first outings, like you said, Scott, 6 innings, 5 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings. The first 4 weeks, and then once he finally figured out his pitches, it was 7, 6, 8, 8, 7, 8, 8, 9, 8, 9, 7, 8, 6. I mean, so then like you said, it was kind of just figuring out that rhythm, and I think that's what Colby Allen's trying to do, right? And I feel like Colby Allen's kind of gotten frustrated a little bit to start his outings, where when he's not getting that swing and miss on the slider that he's so accustomed to when he comes in at the back end of things, people aren't just biting on it because they're just kind of waiting on his fastball, even though he's probably going to throw them the changeup that he's kind of developed, but he wasn't able to locate that well against UC Santa Barbara. So that's kind of why they were able to get to him. But it really hasn't been bad outings for Colby. I mean, he hasn't done anything necessarily wrong. You just kind of want more out of your Friday night guy. And I point more to McCarty English. I mean, I think this week is kind of a make or break deal for McCarty, in my opinion. I think they really need to see a next step this week from McCarty. And Glyn, I want to get your thoughts on that because I don't think necessarily he's pitched bad. It's just you can't have your Sunday guy only go 2 innings 4 or 5 weeks in a row.
Right. I mean, not to put words in Oz's mouth, but my thought is if, there's a guy like Cam Sunstrom there just chomping at the heels to be the Sunday guy, but also he stepped in and more than filled that role that Colby had for us last year, with that middle, just shut down baseball where you could come in and shut down a Friday night and then be available again for another inning or two throughout a series. So, you have to decide where he's more valuable to you. I think McCarty will be fine. You got to consider that he gets hurt, hardly pitched last year. He's throwing a new pitch. I mean, I think he's still, he'll have time to feel his way out. But, while we're talking about this, definitely, in most scenarios, you want to get 5 or 6 innings out of your starters. But if there was ever a season where you could get away with that not happening,
Yeah, good
Our middle
point.
relief is deep.
I mean,
So
And
it's such a good argument.
I'll add to it, if you want to play devil's advocate, maybe with the way this team is constructed, Oz can afford to experiment a little bit more on Sundays with McCarty and give him a longer leash to figure it out rather
mhm.
than, you know, putting Camden out there. Because Glenn, as you just said, it's really valuable to have a guy like Camden to be your, sham wow, clean up your messes,
Yep.
right? That's pretty valuable to have. And with the way the staff is constructed, on Sundays you can fool around a little bit because if the team keeps clicking, why not give them a chance, right? I
And
mean,
you
and not
arguably
that they're fooling around, but you know what I mean.
and you
Right.
arguably have three of those guys, right? Not just Sundstrom with Ock and Sibley, right?
And
I mean,
Broadhead's starting to show up as a guy that's going to be able to help you in middle innings. And I mean,
yeah,
Sam Mitchell, I think, is going to be one of those guys too.
because I mean, Sibley is kind of that guy who, if he's on, he can give you 4 or 5 innings, right? And now he doesn't pitch a lot on Sundays. Well, he did last week, but I mean, but you're right, Glenn. If there was ever a time for them to not have a guy with extended length on Sunday, which I don't think that's going to be McCarty the whole season. I think by the week, I think he might be a case of JB Middleton. By week 3 or 4, he's going to figure it out. I mean, Graydon Harris wasn't going
It took him time.
innings, last year.
And also,
Yes.
if you've
Sorry,
got
go
the
ahead.
arms, if you have the arms, which we do, there's some value in a lineup having to face a completely different look right out, 3 or 4 innings out, and Oz always likes to throw those different guys, a lefty off a righty or, vice versa. You're getting, geared up for one guy, then you have to, start learning another guy. It can throw a team off offensively for an inning or two. I think there's a little value to that at points.
Fair point, yeah.
The lineup for Louisiana Tech, I guess it starts with Colby Lunsford, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 441 batting average. Again, they've hit for 15 homers this season, and it's kind of been scattered across the lineup. One guy that, coming into the season that, really felt like that they had, that he was going to be a big guy for them was Colton Coates, and Southern Miss fans will probably remember him from last season. So far this season, 375 average, 2 home runs. Glenn, I guess it's not a lineup that necessarily like scares you as far as you got 7 guys deep who can all, smash or slug or whatever. But I mean, it's definitely a lineup that you don't want to play around with, but they do strike out a lot, which I think is, important to note for Golden Eagle.
Yeah, and that's indicative of Coach Burroughs' teams. They're aggressive, much like us, aggressive at the plate. Yeah, I mean, just from looking at the numbers, they look like a team from 1 to 9 that you're going to have to navigate. There are no black holes in the lineup. So, and guys, some guys that can do some different things. My question is, how much quality pitching have they really seen? Now, I don't know. We'll find out. But it showed up again for Alabama. Some of our guys baffled them for a while.
Yeah. Scott, I know you're going to have to head out in just a minute, but I just want to get your overall, I guess, prediction on this weekend. And then we appreciate your time today, buddy.
Oh, totally. No, thanks for having me on. I'm sorry to dip out a little early. I got a 6 o'clock show pretty soon. Getting ready for the weekend, but this has been so fun. I mean, I could talk baseball for hours, and I'm sure you guys too. So,
Any predictions this
I
weekend?
enjoyed it, brother.
yeah, I think with the way the team is rolling, I can't really pick against Southern Miss, but I think it's fair to say that with respect to Louisiana Tech, I think USM grabs a series 2 games to 1, and I'm not saying that because I think I just have that much respect for La Tech at home, and I think USM could afford to lose a game, and I think that if Southern Miss drops the Sunday game or the Friday game, whatever game it is, don't freak out. I don't think it's fair to do that yet. I don't think Southern Miss has earned that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them a long leash here, and I think they head Tuesday against Mississippi State with 2 losses. So
Yeah. Well, Scott, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have you back on soon.
Thanks, Scott.
see you guys.
And Glenn, kind of to that, with Louisiana Tech's, it's so hard to win over there, and you would think,
they got passionate fans like Southern Miss has passionate fans. So.
and I would think it'd be a really good crowd with number 12 coming into town. And anyways, but back to their lineup, one thing that really interests me was this bottom of the lineup. 214, 263, 235. I mean, it's just if you can get past, their first five guys, which I guess is true for most of these mid-major lineups, it's not just them, but, you might could pitch around a little bit, and I don't know if Oz wants to do that. They normally like to go right at hitters, but if you get into certain situations, there's room for that.
Right. I mean, it gives you the ability to pitch situationally to some extent if you need or want to, but you just hit on it. I mean, I don't think Oz is that guy. He likes to go right at people, so which I like. So
yeah, me too. All right, now their pitching is really good. Their pitching started the season off really, really hot. The guy on Friday, and I'm probably going to butcher his last name, Declan Dahl, 3-0, 0.60 ERA. He's pitched 15 innings, given up 13 hits. He's walked 6 and struck out 12. The lineup on him, or rather the scouting report on him, 92, 93 with his fastball, 79, 81 on the curveball. He has a changeup. If he can throw strikes consistently, you would think that he would be, solid, which he has been.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like I said before, I think the biggest difference in this team for Coach Burroughs is his pitching staff, particularly the depth of it. I don't think he's had that in a while. So, you don't want to get to a game with those guys tied or down a run or two late. They have the ability to shut things down, or maybe they didn't have that before.
Yeah. Their Saturday guy, left-hander, Hudson Rowan. He's a Florida State transfer, 2-0 on the season, 0 ERA. He's only thrown 5 innings, though, Glenn. Short outings so far for him.
Yeah, I think they're just starting to discover what he's about. And he's supposed to have a really good wipeout slider and a changeup off of that. I'm not sure what his fastball is.
Let's look on it's 90, 91, 92.
Yeah, well, that's solid from the left side. I mean, Florida State does not give scholarships to chumps, so maybe this is somebody he's found a place where he, can get some time to develop and realize his potential. But to this point, only 5 innings, so he's still got a lot to prove.
Sunday guy, Brooks Robertson, and he was the 2025 Conference USA Freshman of the Year last season.
Yeah.
So far this season, 11 and a third innings, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts, 1.59 ERA, and a 2-0 start on the season. Another guy, Glenn, who can, 91, 92 fastball, change up at 81. And that's kind of the weapon he uses a lot because it comes out of the same arm slot. So another guy with, pretty good arm.
Yeah, and real quality for a Sunday starter. I mean, that's nice to have right there. I was thinking maybe he could even be their Friday night guy, coming out of fall ball. He's a good one, man. He's only getting better. So, yeah, I mean, he actually might be the most solid guy of those 3. Yeah. And you're facing him on Sunday, so no breaks on Sunday.
For sure. Now, their bullpen, when I was talking to Louisiana Tech's beat writer, he said that was still kind of the question mark. Even though that they, have had a couple guys, they haven't really been able to get into the game just because of the length of what their starting pitchers have been able to do so far. But really, the guy you start with is Riley Fisher, and he's their closer. 10 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts, no walks. That's pretty daggum good.
And a lefty. He's been lights out, man. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I look at and see that maybe Coach Burroughs hadn't had over the last year or two, that kind of quality on the back end. Yeah, he's been tough, man. One guy that they've had for a year or two that's really been good is, reliever Blake Hooks. And I'm seeing that he only threw 1 inning, so I'm going to surmise that he's maybe dealing with some sort of injury issue. So
yes,
he may not be available this weekend.
That's what their writer said. He said that they probably won't have him this weekend, so that's pretty big news. And then really their other guys, I mean, for the vast majority of them, it appears like they're good numbers, but they just haven't pitched that much because of the length of the starters, so I think
their premier righty out of the bullpen off that lefty is Cade Parker. He's been 2.35 ERA and 7.2 innings pitched, 8 Ks over, no walks. So that he's been more than solid too. So they have lefty and righty options on the back end if they can get to in the end of a game tied or with the lead. The key is to get on them early.
Right. So I mean, I just think the key to success for this. First off, I don't think Louisiana Tech has seen a lineup like they're going to see against Southern Miss with that many players, and I guess the dimensions of the field have to help for Southern Miss as well, as much as what's going to help with Louisiana Tech. But 2, I mean, the method for success here is get these starters out and make these back end pitchers prove themselves, and they might prove themselves. They might come out and light Southern Miss up. Who knows? But I think you'd rather be in that scenario than face these frontline arms who are pretty good, but it's not like Southern Miss hasn't seen really good arms this season. So,
unlike any other season, they've seen first round guys, 2 of them already. Those 2 guys are probably going to be in the first 10 to 15 people, kids picked in the draft. It's pretty elite, man.
Yeah, it was funny. I keep going back to when we saw Creel right before the UC Santa Barbara series, and he was talking about facing Flora, and he was like, "Yeah, thanks."
Yeah, he knew the challenge he had. So you're looking at him and say, "Hey, how are you going to tag him?" And he's like,
"Just hope for the best."
Yeah, no, there were no chinks in Mr. Flora's armor.
No doubt. On the whole team as a whole, I think Louisiana Tech is a very good baseball team, and they're very more than they're capable of taking 2 out of 3 against Southern Miss. I think they have the arms to do it and the lineup to do it. It's still going to be a tall task.
I mean, they're filling it 980, so they're no slouch. I think they're a very complete team. I'm just curious to see. Still don't know who they are. Maybe they don't know who they are. Where I have a little better idea who Southern Miss is because of the level of competition that they've gone up against.
Right. I mean, I just think like if Southern Miss had played Louisiana Tech's schedule, they would be probably number one. They would be undefeated, number one, and then number 2, they would probably have these similar numbers.
Yeah, pounding out 8 runs a game,
right?
Slouch,
I mean, you would have almost identical numbers, and I think the pitching numbers for Southern Miss would look even better than they do now. So that's the only thing I just worry about, because I mean, for Louisiana Tech's sake, is that it appears good, but we want to. I think this is the weekend for them, and I think they would even agree to that this is the weekend to prove it.
Yeah, it's a weekend of discovery for those guys more so than ours. We're still tinkering, putting finer touches on combinations and lineup stuff. They're still waiting to really test their mettle against a legit ball club. I think they're going to get their chance this weekend. They're going to be up for it. I mean, like I mentioned before, some of the most contentious ball games I've seen over the last decade are those series between those 2 teams.
For sure. Keys to the series for Southern Miss, Glyn.
Control the zone. The pitching staff control the zone. Don't give up freebies. Make them earn it. And I think Southern's more than capable of winning baseball games if they just don't give away the free stuff. And we hadn't touched on this. They need to play cleaner in the field. It hadn't been horrendous, but the middle of that infield's got to, they got to be dependable. Night in and night out.
Yeah, I mean, there's just been a couple times where it's like, I don't know if necessarily you could say it would have lost them the game, but like you just can't do it, right? Like almost every time it's happened, they've given up a run.
I mean, if we don't make that error the other night, it's probably 10-0 and we're going home.
Yeah.
I don't think they score. Maybe one.
Other than that 2-run homer right on the top of the 4th.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Oregon State, that game is probably 9-1,
Right. Well, just like in football season, remember when Coach Huff said we've been getting away with these things, getting away with them, and finally it got to a point in the season where they were no longer getting away with it anymore. You eventually tide turns on you. The worm turns, as they say, and those mistakes will get your rear end beat. So,
for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, 975 defensive fielding average for Southern Miss. Yeah. So it's not like it's been awful. There's been a couple of hiccups that I think is still to be expected, considering you had to replace 3 ridiculously good players in your middle of your field.
Yeah, we're a little spoiled with Ozzie Pratt, one of the most steady dudes at shortstop we've ever had. So yeah.
I mean, but you've had it for 5 years with Dickerson behind him too.
Oh yeah, and then Monaster turned out to be a way better second baseman than I ever thought he would. He's more athletic. His range is what kind of set him apart from other guys. He could go get a baseball in the hole or vice versa. He was impressive.
Right. All right. Anything else on Louisiana Tech before we do some predictions?
No, I'm just looking forward to the series. I mean, let's get on the hill and see what happens.
For sure. All right, Glyn. I think it's safe to say, 2 out of 3 is probably, at worst here. I mean, I don't want to say that. We're probably not at worst, but you would think that's what everybody's kind of settling on. But it shouldn't be. It's not crazy to think they could sweep this, right?
Oh yeah, they could certainly sweep it. I mean, La Tech could do it too. I mean, I think this is a really solid ball club. I mean, we're going to find out more about them in a couple of days, but if Southern leaves there 2 out of 3, I'm extremely pleased. If you sweep, it's almost just cherry on top. You're not going to win every series. Your goal on the road is to win the series. Right. To me, that's great success.
Yeah, if you can be, what would they be, 9-2 out of that, and then you play state, and then you should get a sweep against North Alabama. Let's say let's just say you lose a state, you'd be 12-3 out of non-conference, which is just ridiculous considering the quality of opponents they played.
Yeah, man, and you're max foot on the gas, all the momentum in the world, and still developing that pitching staff. I mean, I'm telling you, when Chase Adams gets back, and if he's healthy, he's a great matchup lefty guy that he's so important in spots that we didn't have last year. And I'm curious to see Meeks. Last time I saw him, he threw a rehab, I think, at the first of practice, and he was touching 94 already. So, and he's a guy that's capable before he leaves at Southern Miss if he stays healthy, hitting triple digits.
For sure. All right. Well, we will watch every game, and we'll be back on Sunday for the recap. Probably a live show on Sunday night because I believe that we'll recap the Louisiana Tech series, then we'll look ahead to what should be an absolute blockbuster against Mississippi State. And we hope to have a live show. That way we can get some people in here and get some questions and all that good stuff. And, look ahead to that Mississippi State game because that should be an absolute zoo. I mean, very potential
going to be packed.
Very potential top 10 matchup at the Pete, which would probably be the first time that ever those two teams were top 10 playing each other. And Glyn, we're gonna know a lot about Mississippi State this weekend. They haven't played a great schedule so far, but they're going out there to I think it's in Arlington. They're going out there. It's either in Dallas or Houston. I can't remember which one, but they're going to be playing some good teams. I think Tennessee's out there, UCLA's out there, Arizona State's out there. So we're going to know a lot about the Bulldogs this weekend too.
Big time test.
Also, the Sun Belt got some great midweek game wins this week. Arkansas State beat Arkansas. Troy beat Georgia last night. Good to see them kind of bouncing back. That's just always good for the league's RPI, as Oz said this afternoon, because you want your league to be good. When you get into that conference schedule, the RPI kind of washes itself out because, teams are losing, teams are winning. So you want all that RPI to be high in those non-conference games going into the conference schedule. So that's really encouraging to see the Sun Belt teams beating those non-con teams.
Yeah, and like I said, when those guys are playing, if they're not playing us, I'm cheering for them.
Right.
I'm pulling for them. So, yeah, most definitely, those were big wins. On a big night for the Sun Belt for sure.
No doubt. All right. Well, please comment, subscribe, rate the show, whatever you want to do. Subscribe on YouTube. You can just type in A View from the Press Box. You can go to Apple Podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Subscribe to us there. We love to have you. We love getting all the comments on social media saying, when's the next show? Or we can't wait for the next show. We really do appreciate it, guys. And
yeah, we really do.
We're going to keep cranking these things out. A lot of people like them. Even shout out to Mark Etheridge, D1 Baseball. He said he listened to it. So
that was an ultimate compliment. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get him on the show. I think, that would be really cool to have him on.
Yeah, I would love to have Mark on the show.
Just kind of chat some baseball for a nice little interview with him. Glyn, outside of that though, how can people read you? Where do they follow your site and all that stuff?
Yeah, 247 Sports. Just type in one word, goldeneaglepride.com. That'll take you to our front page, give you the opportunity to check out what we're doing, some of the stories. Also, with a thought, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be covering day after day after day of spring football. So that's going to be big too. But yeah, you can join our site. It's still 50% off. I'm not sure how much longer that's going to be available, but come join us. We got about 500 crazy black and gold people. We talk Southern Miss sports all day long.
Yeah, and near to spring football, we'll definitely do a show on that and kind of hit on that as well because people want to hear about that, and obviously new look team, Blake Anderson first year, and a lot to figure out over there at football before a schedule, and there should be a schedule release soon. It's just whenever Louisiana Tech decides to join the Sun Belt. So
right.
You can also follow me on the Pine Belt News. You can type in upcityspokes.com/sports. If you want to subscribe, it's $35 for a year, so it's not crazy, and that gets you the paper each week too. So it's not $35 a year is divided by 12. I can't do math, but I think that's like $4 a month or something like that. So
Bargain.
that's coffee. So yeah, it's not bad. But we do appreciate it. And we will see you on Sunday night. Probably if I had to guess, like an hour after the last game, live show. And we'll recap the Louisiana Tech series and then get you ready for Southern Miss Mississippi State on Tuesday. So Glyn, thanks for your time. Thank you for everyone listening, and we will see you on Sunday. And that was A View from the Press Box.